Hello everyone. So continuing from the previous lecture, today we are going to discuss the test on cement. Now the test on cement will be discussed into two categories. The first is the field test for the cement and the second is laboratory test on cement. Now the purpose of conducting the field test for the cement is to quickly analyze the quality of cement as and when the batch of cement is arrived in the field. Okay, so using these filters we can quickly assess the quality of the batch of cement that has been supplied by the supplier. So in this test, in the field test, the first one is the color test. So the color of a good quality cement will be gray with a light greenish texture. Okay, so your good quality cement will have a gray color with a light greenish texture or shade. Then talking about the physical property, if you take a small quantity of cement in your hand and you rub that cement in between your fingers, it should feel smooth, right? When you take a small quantity of cement from the bag and rub it in between your fingers, it should feel smooth. And if you insert your hand into the bag or the heap of the cement, it should feel cool. All right. And if the small quantity of cement is thrown in a bucket of water, it should sink, right? It should sink, not float, right? The cement should sink, not float. Then there should be no lumps in the cement. The bag of the cement or the cement should be free from the lumps, right? So these are few of the field tests from which we can quickly assess the quality of the cement, right? These tests gives us the idea of the quality of the cement. Next, we have laboratory test, and the laboratory tests that we are going to discuss are in accordance with IS 4032 and IS 4031 Part 1 to Part 15. So, Part 1 to Part 15 means that for each test, each part has been given. So, the test we are going to discuss will be in between these parts. Right. So, Indian Standard Code Series 4031 deals with the laboratory test for the cement, and in that we have part 1 to part 15, in which each part describes a specific test in detail. Right. It tells about the objective of the test, it tells about the apparatus required, the testing procedure, and the specification of the equipment that we are going to use for that specific test. Okay, so in this, the first one is the chemical composition test or the chemical test of the cement, and we have discussed in the previous lecture that the composition of the cement is very important, right? The whole chemical composition decides the ability to harden and the ability to provide the cohesion and adhesion property, right? So in this, the first one is lime saturation factor, and the lime saturation factor should be in between 0.66 to 1.02. Now the thing is, what is lime saturation factor? So your lime saturation factor is the ratio of percentage of lime to the percentage of silica, alumina, and iron oxide. Right? So your lime saturation factor is the ratio of percentage of lime to the combined percentage of silica, alumina, and iron oxide in the cement. It can be expressed in terms of formula CO.7SO3 divided by 2.8 SiO2 plus 12 Al2O3 plus 0.65 Fe2O3. Alright. The second is that the ratio of percentage of alumina to the iron oxide should not be less than 0.66. Right. That is, the ratio of alumina to the iron oxide should always be greater or equal to the 0.66. Then the third is that weight of insoluble residue should be less than equal to 4%. that is the maximum permissible limit is 4%, right? It should always be less than 4%. Then the weight of magnesia should be less than or equal to 6%. Then the total loss on ignition shall not be more than 5%, right? Loss of ignition means that during the process of testing the chemical constituent of the cement, a part of the material is burned and is obtained in the form of residue. Now if we get higher amount of residue, this means that higher amount of impurities in some form is there in the cement, right? So the total loss of ignition should not be more than 5%. Then the sulfur content, that is calculated as sulfur anhydride, should be less than or equal to 2.5% if the quantity of tricalcium aluminate is less than 5% in the batch of cement. Okay, that is your sulfur content, the quantity, the permissible limit for the quantity of sulfur content is dependent upon the quantity of tricalcium aluminate. Okay, if the quantity of C3A is less than 5%, then the sulfur content, the permissible limit for the sulfur content should be 2.5%. The sulfur content should be less than or equal to 2.5%. And if the quantity of tricalcium aluminate is greater than 5%, then the quantity of sulfur content should not be greater than 3%. Okay, so these are few of the chemical composition for the cement. The next and the most one of the most important property is the consistency of the cement, right? And this is found out from the consistency test. So consistency test, basically you see what happens is that the cement, we have a patch of cement, and we know that the hardness and the cohesion and adhesion property is obtained when we add certain quantity of water to the cement. Now, to a certain quantity of cement, what quantity of water will be appropriate to get a very homogeneous paste, right? To get a very homogeneous paste, this we find out using consistency test, right? That is, the paste should be consistent or homogeneous. That is, equal proportion of water should be available for the particles of cement that is present. So for this, we do consistency test. Now, how do we define that the paste is consistent? For this, we have a definition. The normal or the standard consistency of the cement paste is defined as that consistency that will permit wicket plunger having 10 mm diameter and 50 mm length to penetrate a depth of 33 to 35 mm from top or 5 to 7 mm from bottom of the mold. Alright, so this is the definition for the consistent cement or cement consistency. What does this mean? Your normal consistency of cement is defined as the consistency that will permit wicket plunger. Wicket plunger is the overall testing is done on wicket apparatus, and the assembly that is used to measure the consistency is wicket plunger. So the wicket plunger that has a diameter of 10 mm and the length of 50 mm, that wicket plunger should penetrate the mix. Mix means the certain quantity of cement mixed with certain quantity of water, right? That plunger should penetrate up to a depth of 33 to 35 mm from the top, right, or 5 to 7 mm from the bottom. So when we get a penetration value of this 33 to 35 mm from the top or 5 to 7 mm from the bottom, when we get this penetration value from a wicket plunger of diameter this and length this 50 mm, then we can say that our paste is consistent, right? Now let us see the wicket apparatus. So this is the wicket apparatus, right? This is the Wicket apparatus assembly, right? This is the Wicket apparatus assembly. Now here we have a slot, and in this slot we can fix any of the rings, right? So this one is called as Wicket plunger. This is called as Wicket plunger, and remember, Wicket plunger is used to find out the normal consistency of the cement, right? So we use Wicket plunger to find out the normal consistency of the cement. The rest of these two are used to find out the initial setting time and the final setting time of the cement. All right. So the apparatus remains the same, but the assembly is different. This plunger is used to find out the consistency of the cement. A diagram is shown here, right? Now let us discuss the test procedure. So what we do is, in the test we take 300 gram of cement paste, and in that we add a certain quantity of water. So in the first trial, what we do is we take the 24% of the water by weight of cement, right? This is the first trial. So if in the first trial we get the desired penetration value, then this is the water, this is the standard quantity of water. If we do not get the standard penetration value, then we will increase or decrease the quantity of water based upon the observation that we obtained, right? So these quantity is first of all mixed. Now the mixing time and the gauging time is counted from the time of addition of water to the dry cement until commencing to fill the mold, right? The mold, this is the mold, right? So what we do is we take a container, we take a separate container, and in that container we put a certain quantity of cement, and in that cement we add in the first trial 24% by weight of cement water, right? And we mix it, right? And this mixing time starts just from the moment that we have added the water, right? And after this we transfer it to the mold. Now this mixing time should not be less than 3 minutes, nor should be more than 5 minutes, right? So the mixing time should be in between 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Now after this the mold is placed under Wicket apparatus, right? And this, in the Wicket apparatus we attach the Wicket plunger, right? And now this plunger is just touch the surface, after which we remove the plunger, and the plunger penetrates to the mix, the cement and the water mix, right? And then what we do is we note down the penetration depth, we note down the depth of penetration, and if that penetration is towards the standard value, then it's okay, otherwise we do the different trials. So what is the penetration value that we are looking for? 32, 33 to 35 mm from the top, or 5 to 7 mm from the bottom, right? So the percentage of water that gives us this penetration value is called as the quantity of water that will give us the standard consistency. So, and this percentage of water in this lecture we are going to denote by P, right? So the quantity, the appropriate quantity of water that will give us the consistent paste. In this lecture, we are going to denote by the letter P, right? So whenever we are talking, we will represent it. Wherever you see the symbol P, this means the quantity of water that will give us the consistent paste. Now this test is conducted at a standard room temperature of 27 degrees Celsius plus minus 2 degrees Celsius and a constant humidity of 90%, right? So this was your consistency test. So the next test is initial setting time of cement. Okay, so what is the initial setting time of cement? It is the time elapsed between the moment that the water is added to the cement to the time the paste start losing its plasticity. All right. So basically, what does this mean is that upon the addition of water to the cement, we mix and form a paste. Right. Now this paste, the time it takes to just to start to lose its plasticity, that is now the time period at which the mixing becomes very tedious and the cement paste starts to get hardened. That time period is called as initial setting time of cement. Okay. For ordinary Portland cement, the initial setting time is 30 minutes, and for the low heat cement, the initial setting time is 60 minutes. That is, at this time period, the respective type of cement will start to lose its plasticity. Right. Now, in brief, let us discuss the procedure, the testing procedure. So, what we'll do is we'll take 300 gram of cement and we'll add 0.85 p water. 0.85 p. P is the quantity of the water that would have given us the consistent cement paste, right? So what we do is we take 85% of that water and mix it with 300 gram of cement. After this, the Vickett plunger with square needle is lowered to the surface gently and make contact with the surface. Now again, as we have the apparatus that will be used is Vickett apparatus. Now in that Vickett apparatus, will instead of that plunger, so first of all, it should be Vickett apparatus. Okay. In that Vickett apparatus, we use square needle, right? Square needle means this one. We use needle, and what we do is we take the paste, right? We take the paste, fill it in the bowl, right? Fill it in the bowl, and take this needle, touch it to the surface of that paste. After that, the needle is dropped. All right. After this, the needle is allowed to free fall. So the needle penetrates to a depth of 30 to 35 mm from the tap. The test is called said to be complete. So when we achieve a penetration of 30 to 35 mm, the test is said to be complete. Then we have final setting time of cement. Again, in initial setting time, we have observed that the cement paste starts to lose its plasticity. While in the final setting time, what will happen is that the paste would have completely lost its plasticity and the cement will achieve the cement paste will achieve the hardened state. Okay, so the time between water added to the cement to the time when the paste has completely lost its plasticity and has attained firmness to resist certain definite pressure is called as final setting time of cement. Okay, so now the mixing becomes impossible and the cement is now hard. So when we achieve that, that is called as final setting time of cement. Now the test procedure, we again take the 300 gram sample, 0.85 p water. Now we get plunger with is lower gently and make contact with the surface. Okay, again this is Vickett apparatus. Vickett apparatus. Vickett apparatus with annual collar. Okay, now instead of that needle, we use annual collar and is lower gently to the surface, to the contact to the surface. The annual collar is this one. Okay, this is the annular collar, right? So the procedure remains the same, right? The procedure more or less remains the same as that of initial starting time of the cement. The difference is the needle that we are using. Okay, in final setting time we are using annular collar. Okay, now if the needle makes an abrasion while annular collar fails to do so, we call it that our sample is finally set. Okay, if the needle makes an impression while the annular collar fails to do so, we can say that our cement is finally set. Now the paste has to obtain such hardness that the needle does not pierce through the paste more than 0.55 mm. Okay, so the maximum penetration that is permissible is 0.55 mm. Now the final setting time should not be more than 10 hours. Now the next test that we are going to discuss is the strength test. And in the strength test, we are going to discuss about the compressive strength test and the tensile strength test. So first of all, we are going to discuss about the compressive strength test. And it is a very important property of the cement that need to be tested. Now, in this, what we do is we make a cement sand mixture of in the ratio of 1:3. It is 180 gram cement, 55 gram of sand, and we add a certain quantity of water. The quantity of water that is going to be added is P by 4 plus 3% of the combined weight of cement and sand. P is again the quantity of water content that will give us the desired consistency, right? So we add a certain quantity of water, and the quantity of water is decided by P by 4 plus 3% of the combined weight of the cement and sand. Now the mixing should not be less than 3 minutes and should not be more than 4 minutes. After this, what we do is we take the cement paste, fill it in the cube of size 7.06 centimeters, and the area of the cube that becomes 50 centimeters square. And after this, what we do is we either hand compact or we vibrate compact the specimen and keep compacted cube in the mold at a temperature of 27 degrees Celsius and 90% relative humidity for 24 hours, right? And after 24 hours, we remove the cube from the mold and immerse it in the clean and fresh water until taken out for the testing. And the testing is done for 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, 28 days from the day of compaction, right? And the compressive strength test is taken as the average of 3 cubes. So basically, what we do is we test 3 cubes to get, and the average of that gives us the strength, compressive strength value. Now the compressive strength of 33 grade OPC at the 3 day, 7 day and 28 day is 16 MPa, 22 MPa and 33 MPa respectively. Okay, so this is your compressive strength test. Next we have tensile strength test, and in the tensile strength test what we do is we use briquette for testing. So in compressive strength test, what did we use? We used cubes, right? Remember that in compressive strength test we used cubes of 50 centimeter square area with each dimension 7.06 centimeters, right? While in tensile strength test we use briquette. Now these are the briquettes. This is the briquette, right? This is the tensile strength testing assembly. Okay, so basically what happens here is that this briquette is adjoined from both sides of the testing assembly, and then a force is applied, and what happens is that depending upon the manufacturer and the type of equipment used, one of the side moves down, right? So suppose this starts to move down while the upper part remains stationary. So what will happen is the failure that will take place is because of the tension, the force that is developed, right? Because what will happen is it will crack due to tension, right? So through this we assess the tensile strength property of the cement. Now again the cement sand mixture is 1:3 by weight, and the water proportion is P by 5 plus 2.5% by weight of cement sand. Okay, so this is the quantity of water that we are going to use to conduct the tensile strength test for the cement. uh, Talking about the testing procedure is more or less same. So the mix is filled in the mold, compacted, kept for 24 hours at the room temperature and 90% humidity, then immersed in water, taken out just before the testing. Now the loading rate is 0.4 Newton per mm square per 12 seconds in the machine. And in compressive strength test we used average of 3 cubes. Here we use average of 6 briquettes. Okay, so 6 briquettes are tested and the average strength is obtained. The 3 day and the 7 day tensile strength of OPC cement is 2 MPa, 2.5 MPa respectively, and in general the tensile strength that we get is normally 10 to 15% of the compressive strength of the cement. So whatever the compressive strength that we get, conventionally the tensile strength is 10 to 15% lesser than the compressive strength. After this we have soundness test, and the soundness test, in soundness test what we try to test is the, we want to know the volumetric change the cement paste has undergone in the subsequent period of time. Okay, so soundness test, in the soundness test we check the volumetric change, volumetric change that the cement paste has undergone in a subsequent period of time. Okay, the cement paste, one, it has said does not should not undergo appreciable change in the volume. Okay, so suppose you have created a structure, right, and it has hardened, right, so you do not want to that the cement paste after it get hard it change its dimension. You do not want that. The reason for the change in volume is excess quantity of lime, magnesia and sulfate, right? Now to assess the excess quantity of lime, magnesia and sulfate, so if we have excess quantity of lime, the test that we are going to do is Le-Chatelier's test, right? If we have excess quantity of magnesia, we are going to do autoclave test. And if we have excess quantity of sulfate, for sulfate we do not have a satisfactory test, right? And if there is an excess quantity of sulfate, then that is find out using chemical analysis. Okay, but for lime we do Le-Chatelier's test, and for magnesia we do autoclave test. So let us discuss quickly about the Le-Chatelier's method for testing for the soundness of the cement. Okay, so the apparatus looks something like this. Okay, we have two glass plates. We have this assembly having two arms. Right, the dimensions are shown here. Right, so these are the two glass sheets that will be placed, one at the bottom, one at the top of the assembly, and this is the 30 mm is the length of this assembly. This is the 30 mm, right? The diameter, again, this diameter is 30 mm again, and the thickness is 0.5 mm. The thickness is 0.5 mm. Okay, now let us discuss the testing procedure. So basically if we what we do in this test is that we take 100 gram of cement paste and we add 0.78 p of water, and then we fill the mold with cement paste, keep on and that is the central part. We filled this with the cement paste. Keep a glass plate at the bottom and cover the top with another glass plate. Okay, after this what we do is we immerse the assembly in the water at a temperature of 27 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius for 24 hours. We take the whole assembly, we immerse in the water, and after 24 hours we take out and measure the distance between the indicator point, these indicator point. So if there has to be some expansion, that will be uh, measured through these indicator point or the indicator arms, right? After this what we do is we again immerse this in the whole of the assembly in the water bath, and that the water bath is brought to the boiling point at a time period of 25 to 30 minutes and kept at the boiling state for 3 hours. Okay, so in the first state what we did was take the assembly, put it in the normal water for 24 hours. After 24 hours we take out, we again put it in the water bath, put the water to the boiling point, take the water to the boiling point in 25 to 30 minutes, and then keep the water boiling for 3 hours, and the assembly is there in that boiling water. And after that, after this 3 hours the mold is taken out, allowed to cool, and again the distance between the indicator point is measured, and the difference is called as the expansion that has been taken place. Now the expansion of the cement should not be greater than 10 mm for OPC, that is ordinary Portland cement, rapid hardening cement, and the low heat cement. Okay, the expansion of the cement should not be greater than 10 mm for OPC, RHC, and LHC. Alright, you must remember these. Now for the autoclave test, this test, as per the IS specification, cement having magnesia more than 3% should not be tested for the autoclave test. So from the chemical test, if we find out that the cement in the quantity of magnesia is more than 3% in the cement, then we do not test that with the autoclave test. So this is the autoclave testing machine. And here what we do is we take cement paste of 25 mm by 25 mm placed in the autoclave, and then we apply steam pressure. Steam pressure is raised to bring gauge pressure of the steam to 21 kg per centimeter square in 1 to 1 hour 15 minutes, and this steam is maintained for 3 hours. Autoclave is then cooled and the length of specimen is measured. Right. See, in generally Le-Chatelier's test is done because conventionally the impurity due to lime is more common than the impurity due to magnesia, and if the quantity of magnesia is more than 3%, the sample is rejected and a new sample is ordered, right? The expansion after doing this test should not be more than 0.8%. Okay, after this we have fineness test for the cement, and fineness test, basically what we do is we assess the particle size distribution, right? We measure the particle size in terms of specific surface, and this fineness governs the rate of hydration setting time of the cement, and the rate of gain of strength is very rapid in the fine cement, and though no effect on the final strength. Okay, so the initial gain in strength is very fast in the fine cement. So finer the cement, the higher will be the rapid gain of strength, though the overall strength, the long term strength, will remain the same. So there are number of methods. We have C method, air permeability method, and sedimentation method. Most important and the most common method is C method. Okay, so called as particle size distribution method. This is the most commonly used method and the most important method. So what we do in this is we take 100 gram of cement sample, place it on 9 micron sieve and sieve for 15 minutes. And the residue that we get in the pan should not be greater than the following permissible limit. For OPC, the percentage residue by weight should not be more than 10%. For rapid hardening cement should not be more than 5%, and for Portland polymer cement should not be more than 5%. Right, after this we have air permeability test, and the total surface area is represented in centimeter square per gram of cement. The fineness can be estimated either by using Lee and Nurse air permeability apparatus or by using Blaine air permeability apparatus. So the important point that you should remember in this is that these are the two variety of permeability test available. The first is Lee and Nurse air permeability apparatus, and the second is Blaine air permeability apparatus. And the overall surface area is represented using this formula, where L is the thickness of the cement layer, usually taken as 2 centimeters. Okay. D is the density of cement, A is the area of the cement layer, and the psi is the porosity of the cement taken as 0.475. H1 is the standard manometric reading, H2 is the flow meter reading, right? So conventionally very rarely used, and the important point that you should remember is that the two variety of permeability method or the apparatus available. Then we have Wagner turbidity test. Again, very rarely used. The most commonly used and the most effective is the sieve test. Okay, but these are the tests. So just for the learning purposes, we are discussing it. We have Wigner turbidity test. So basically, what happens is that the cement is distributed uniformly on a rectangular glass tank filled with kerosene, and then light rays are passed, and these light rays strike the sensitive area of the plate, all right, of the composed of photoelectric cell. These through this photoelectric cell, turbidity is measured by reading the current generated by the cell, right? And the recording the reading at different interval while particle falling on the solution, and the reading is expressed in centimeter square per gram, very rarely used. Okay, so then and the next test is heat of hydrogen. And the heat of hydration depends upon the quantitative compounds that are present in the clinker compound. Okay, the apparatus that is used to assess the heat of hydration is called as calorimeter. Now this specimen we have is put in the glass vial of 100 mm by 20 mm and filled with the mixture, the cement paste, that is 60 gram cement plus 24 ml of distilled water, and then it is tightened and sealed. The heat of hydration is calculated by heat that is emitted by the hydrated cement measured by the calorimeter minus the heat that is generated by the unhydrated cement. The heat of hydration for low heat cement should be greater than 66 calories per day. For 7 days and 20 days, it should be 75 calories per day. Then at the last we have specific gravity test, and for specific gravity test we use the Chartleus flask, which looks something like this. Now the flask is filled with kerosene or naphthalene having a specific gravity not less than 0.313. Conventionally, kerosene is used for conducting this test. So basically, the formula that is used to assess the specific gravity of the cement is W2 minus W1 divided by W2 minus W1 minus W3 minus W4, where W1 is the weight of the empty flask. So first of all, what we do is we take the weight of the empty flask. Then what we do is we add a certain quantity of cement. Okay, what we do is we add a certain quantity of cement in the flask and weigh it. After this, we fill this with kerosene. Okay, we fill this with kerosene with cement in it, and we again weigh it, and this is W3. Okay, and after this we clean the apparatus and fill it again with only kerosene. Fill this apparatus again with only kerosene. Okay, and again weigh it, this is W4, right? And by using this formula we find out the specific gravity of the cement. The specific gravity of the cement is 3.15, right? The specific gravity of the cement is 3.15. Okay, so these were the tests that I used for assessing the properties of cement. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask in the comment section. Okay, thank you.